Welcome to Reality Reimagined, where I invite you to expand your mind, elevate your spirit, and transform your world into something truly awesome. I'm your host, Gale West, author of the best-selling book, Money, Come Dance With Me. Reality Reimagined is an exciting out-of-the-box look at what's new, what's old, and what's emerging. We are on the precipice of one of the most exciting evolutionary shifts in human history, from ancient mysteries to cutting-edge science, spirituality, new economies, and more. Together with thought leaders around the globe, we will explore who are we and who are we becoming. Reality Reimagined starts now. Hello, I'm Gale West, and I am the host of Reality Reimagined, formerly the Cafe of Delights. I'm so excited to have Mare Cromwell as my guest today. She is the founder and director of the Great Mother Love Way. She has surrendered to serve the Great Mother to supporting the new earth emerging now. She's an internationally known Gaia mystic, high priestess, visionary, author, and healer. Some might call her a medicine woman. Her close rapport with Mother Gaia has been recognized by a number of prominent indigenous elders, including one Hawaiian elder who informed her that her work is in the native prophecies. Mare's award-winning books include two channeled ones with Mother Gaia, The Great Mother Bible, Messages from Mother, Earth Mother. Her first book is If I Gave You God's Phone Number, Searching for Spirituality in America. She has studied with Native American elders for 26 years, along with other gifted spiritual teachers, and is the visionary behind the 1,000 Goddess Gathering Global Grid and the apology ceremonies to the original peoples and their audiences and their ancestors, She leads the Great Mother Love Way, a year-long course, and also offers webinars and workshops on the New Earth Gardening, Nature Spirits, Womb Wisdom, and more. Her long-distance healing practice is based out of Western North Carolina. Welcome, Mare. So happy to have you.
It's an honor to be here, Gail. I'm just thrilled to be doing this with you.
Yes, I met you a couple weeks ago in the backyard of our dear friend, Duty Kit, along with all her lovely, beautiful trees, her redwood trees, which you had us talk to. Yeah, it's really beautiful. So
Yeah.
I start out every show with what brings you hope at this time? And since it's now the new reality show, Reality Reimagined, what is your new reality vision for the earth?
These are good questions. What brings me hope at this time is so many people are waking up. So many people are really opening up to the reality, speaking of realities, of that we live in a multidimensional world. And another thing that gives me hope is so many young people are so awake. You know, they came into the planet incredibly awake. They know why they're here. They're charging ahead, doing really creative, beautiful, farms and businesses that are all about healing our relationship with the earth. Mm. And so your second question is, what is my new reality for at this time? Is that right?
Well, your new vision for our new reality. And
oh gosh.
Yeah.
The first book I did with Mother, Messages from Mother, Earth Mother, she actually took me on a journey to the future. And it planted in me this beautiful set of images of how we will be living so closely with the earth, far more sacredly. I envision beyond what Mother showed me there, where we can communicate and see the nature spirits really clearly, because their role on the planet is so integral to all living beings on the planet. We will know peace. We won't know war anymore. Everyone's needs will be taken care of, but we will be living in such a way that it's about joy. It's about bliss. It's about really committing ourselves to knowing that we're beautiful divine beings here on earth and we're dancing in that energy with everything around us.
What an amazing vision. There's a prophecy or a statement in the Baha'i faith that we are the children of the half light. This light between the old days of the darkness and the new days where it's light. And we don't know exactly what this new light will be, but giving that vision, that beautiful vision of peace on earth, where we're connected to all nature and all beings, and we really understand our place on the planet is
Mm.
as we're not above anything. We
Mm.
are connected. We're all connected to all
Mhm.
creation. That's beautiful. So I'd love to hear your origin story. You told it a little bit in the backyard of Judikit's home,
Yeah.
but I'm sure there's lots more. So you've been doing this for a long, long time. How did you get to be connecting to, as I would you like an earth mystic, a mystic that connects to beings?
Yeah, Gaia mystic. Um, I look at my life right now like everything has been within this soul contract path. And things became very significant for me and shifted really fast in early June of 2012. I'd just been diagnosed with lymphoma, and I was good friends with an Algonquin medicine man. And I'd already been studying with a Cherokee medicine woman for 14 years. I'd apprenticed with her. We parted ways. And uh, this Algonquin man and I became good friends. And he has been working very closely, calls her Gaia, for years and years. She actually appeared to him one time on a trail as a column of wispy vapor. And he got a specific request from Gaia for the two of us to do a ceremony together for her. And so he contacted me and he said, "Are you open to doing this?" And of course I said yes. And then 3 weeks later, I was diagnosed with enlarged lymph nodes, which is a form of cancer. And I was freaking out. It's never fun to get a diagnosis like that. And I knew I still had to be there at that ceremony. And I had to drive a number of hours to meet him. We met in northern Pennsylvania. We did the ceremony in a forest there, huge state park. And he said to me just prior to the ceremony, he said, "I'm going to be bringing Gaia's energy and consciousness into your energy body, but I don't know how you're going to disconnect." And in the moment, my response was, "I'm not concerned because I know my life is to serve Mother." And right at the end of the ceremony, I call her Mother Gaia. Mother Gaia started talking to me incredibly directly, like you're hearing me right now. And the first thing she said was, "If you surrender to me to the extent I will ask you to surrender, I will help you heal from the cancer without the doctors." Because, I had all these fears about radiation and chemotherapy and who knows. And so when she gave me that decision to make, I'm there. I'm like, yes, yes, huge, huge, yes. And so within a year and 4 or 5 months, I was clear of the lymphoma. And I had all sorts of miraculous healings. Really avoided my physician, never saw an oncologist. And the only reason I knew that it was completely clear, I mean, I could feel it in my body, but I had a gallbladder attack. And so I needed another CT scan. Yeah, a year and a half later, give or take a month or two there. And in the scan, it showed that all the lymph nodes were back to normal. And my physician called me. He said, "How did you do this?" I said, "Well, it was a lot of spiritual work, but I had a lot of help."
Hmm.
So I see Mother Gaia as the ultimate healer. I really do.
So how would there's a lot of people that use the word Gaia. How do you describe Mother Gaia? What is your description of Mother Gaia for our audience so they can really understand who and what you're talking about?
Mother Gaia or Pachamama or Earth Mother, Mother Earth, she has all these names depending on the culture you're in, is our planetary caretaker. She is a very powerful spiritual being who is not the planet itself. She is a powerful spiritual being who is the caretaker of our planet. And what I've come to learn is that every planet has a planetary caretaker. There's a reason why that book from John Gray was called Men Are from Mars, Women Are from Venus. The planetary caretaker for Mars is masculine. The planetary caretaker for Venus is feminine. And so this phenomenon is all over the universe from everything I understand. And so I could go into a lot of detail about her if you want. She didn't source from Earth. She came from outside of the planet. There's a whole story there that I won't get into right now. Um, she's a specific kind of spiritual being. So when people think of the archangels, they're a specific type of spiritual being. Mother Gaia is another type of spiritual being that takes on the role of being a planetary caretaker.
So, I mean, it's interesting. I think what you're talking about is, you know, now I'm very familiar with the word Pachamama, which is the indigenous of South America.
Mhm.
That's their word for the mother,
The Andean
the Mother
peoples,
Earth.
yeah.
And that they believe that the earth has a consciousness. So it's not the metal or the earth, the core of the earth. It's the consciousness of the earth that the earth is alive,
Mhm.
alive with a being. I think that's what you're talking about, that it has a consciousness that we can connect to, that is real, that is supporting all creation. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Or is it more than that in your idea?
Her role is very complex. Her role is to be a co-creative uh, participant, shall we say, co-creator of, excuse me, of evolution here on Earth. And, from the very inception, the very creation of Earth, there was a plan put out on the spirit plane. It's very complicated. Uh, Earth was always meant to be a galactic outpost for high spiritual consciousness. It's also been meant to be a place of incredible beauty, biodiversity, colors, smells, sights. And not every planet has this level of living complexity. It's also a planet where, because of the energies here, we as humans, as two-leggeds, have the capacity to evolve very spiritually, very fast spiritually here, especially these days, because the energies are ramping up on the planet. Uh, so Mother, I just call her Mother, is constantly working. She's a multidimensional being, so she can be in countless different places simultaneously, but she's working with all sorts of different councils to focus on what's happening on the earth, what's happening around the earth, what energies are coming into the earth. Uh, the amount of intelligence and complexities, and I'm saying that word a lot, so bear with me, of her role and what she's involved with is to continue to raise the energy here on the planet, to bring us back into alignment with the Earth's original spiritual blueprint.
Which is what? What is the original spiritual blueprint?
For
You
this
know it,
planet,
as you know it.
yeah, for this planet to be a planet of really high spiritual consciousness.
Well, that's hello, reality reimagined. That
I,
is
it,
amazing. Yeah, that's great.
yeah, and it's true. This was the original plan. And so the reality, when we talk about reality, is that it kept on getting thwarted. All these other energies, other beings, ETs, kept on influencing and wanting to control Earth and wanting to mine Earth for minerals. I mean, I had a really rich conversation with an Aboriginal elder when I was in New Zealand.
That's really curious because we're going to come back in a few. We're going to take a little break,
Oh,
and
okay.
so I don't want you to get into this because this is really exciting. So I'm bringing. I'm so this is like way beyond a lot of our audience's reality, but I think it's really important to consider this, that there are different realities that we're not aware of, and a lot of Native American elders and indigenous people know the things that we in the Western world don't know. So hold
Mhm.
that thought and we'll come back. And I can't wait to hear more about what the New Zealand elder told us.
Yeah,
Okay.
Aboriginal.
Hello, we're back. This is Gale West. We are on the Reality Reimagined. I have Mare Cromwell as my guest. We've been talking about the original blueprint or the original design of the Earth. And this may seem a little out there, but she's going to share with us the indigenous wisdom that she heard from, what is it?
Aboriginal.
Aboriginal New Zealand elder. So tell us more. So give us a little context from the break that we were talking about the original blueprint in that like again, what was the original blueprint?
Yes, the original blueprint for planet Earth was and still is for our planet to be one of really high spiritual consciousness, where we were living already in a place of like full ascension and love and bliss and deeply connected with our divine centers. And unfortunately, in spite of that original blueprint, there have been over millions and millions and millions of years all sorts of invasions on Earth, blockages to the fulfillment of this blueprint. And I was going to share a story. I met an incredible Aboriginal elder when I was in New Zealand. He's from Australia. He grew up in the old ways. He grew up living off the land with his family and his group. Fascinating man. And he told me this story how some 15 or so thousand years ago, because their Aboriginal people go back, they're estimating now upwards of 100,000 years, and don't quote me on that. But he told me the story about how some 15,000 years ago, the Aboriginal people were trying to deal with a situation where a group of ETs were trying to control them, to get them to mine gold so that the ETs could use the gold from Earth. And the Aboriginal people learned to shift their mode of thinking, the center of their thinking, from their heads to their gut. And from that place, they weren't able to be controlled. And so they were successful in circumventing this scheme on the part of this group of ETs. And then he shared also that there were tribes in Africa that the ETs were also manipulating, controlling. And those tribes did not learn how to shift their mode of thinking, the center of their thinking. And this is just one out of countless, countless examples of how our planet's been influenced by extraterrestrials, basically. And I'm not trying to label all extraterrestrials as nefarious and not serving Mother Gaia's highest good, which is the way I term if it's good for the planet or not. But there have been many who have. And in their various ways of and attempts, or successful attempts in many ways, to control humanity even, and long before humanity ever evolved, they were playing around with the planet, trying to control the planet. In some ways, and at different points in time, trying to destroy the planet, because it wasn't serving their interest for this planet to be in this part of the universe being a planet of such high spiritual consciousness. And plus, we had minerals here they wanted. It just, Star Wars is not that far off track.
That's it's fascinating because we have so many stories of ETs, and there's lots of ideas about who we are and what we're about. And this is like, I just invite the audience to think outside the box, because this is outside the box thinking that
Yeah.
this could be possible. Some of what she's saying could be possible. And there are many people who, there's a lot of evidence for these things that that we don't know about. So just think outside the box and consider this as possible, that that this has happened, that and along with history, there is a way in which, from indigenous people, there has been a connection to the earth. There has been a connection to um, all beings and knowing that we are all connected. But there's a way in which we in the Western world have got disconnected.
Yeah,
So it could be a
hugely.
story, it could be true or whatever, but just consider that there could be pieces of this that are really true. So like looking at this from the perspective of who are we and who are we becoming? And so we're talking about who are we as a human race and what is our possibility and who are we becoming?
Mm-hmm. Because we need to change. You
Yeah,
know,
we need to
the
change.
fundamental truth is that we need to change. We've gotten so off track, so away from really understanding what our role is here on Earth and how we're supposed to be living in harmony and balance with all the beings around us. You know, part of this incredible web of love. This is the way I look at it right now. It's not just a web of life; it's a web of love, because these other realms around us, the tree realms, the nature spirit realms. I have friends who can see the nature spirits. Uh, they exist at a higher spiritual frequency, a different dimensional space around us. And they're calling us home. They're calling us back to who we're meant to be as Homo sapiens on the planet.
And as caretakers of this incredible planet. This is not about us, as I said before, being higher than or lower than or whatever. That we are in community with all creation.
Yeah, and even caretaking has, if you don't mind me sharing this, has a connotation of a little bit of hierarchical thinking.
I
And
agree.
yeah, you know, and
Let's come up with a different word.
I would actually just say, you know, compassionate, wise members, you know, beings within this huge, complex web of life that we exist within. We're supposed to be dancing with them, working closely with them, honoring them as they honor us. Uh, and they hold tremendous love for us. I mean, I have a good friend who's a tree communicator and extraordinary tree communicator. And she told me a couple of months ago, she said, trees are all love. If humans only knew that, and they're emanating love for us, they're calling us back to them to remember who they are and to remember who we are. And Mother Gaia hugely is calling us back home to her because we need to be connected with her.
Well, it's interesting because now there's a lot of research being done about the interconnection between humans and trees, scientific research. And it's shown that when someone sits or is close to a tree, it actually radiates oxygen and healing energy. So there is a way in which the science around us is showing us that trees are connected to us, and it's really powerful. And if you think about the microcosmic, mycorrhizal connecting fields underneath the trees and how they communicate with one another and how they're
Mm,
these amazing beings. So
hmm.
so science is kind of catching up to what
Yeah,
the
yeah,
indigenous people have known all along.
yeah.
It's not just and it's sad because when we think about, well, it's not scientific, we can't feel it, we can't think it. It's just that we haven't caught up yet to what's real and what's out there and what we can't see.
And we blind ourselves when we force ourselves to only rely on the science. And science is catching up, and this is really, really good news. And I'm going to share something kind of wild. I've been speaking with a number of tree communicators, and I can communicate with them to some degree, but not like some of these people that I know. And I contacted a Dutch woman who's remarkable, and I asked her, "What are you hearing from the trees?" And this is related to, we'll get to it in a moment, of the Thousand Goddesses Gathering coming up in the fall. Um, and one of the things that she heard very clearly was the trees want us to urinate on them again. Because we used to. I know it's shocking. I'm going to be like out there again. But that's how we all used to live. And when we pee on them at the base of the tree, they read our energy field and take in that information and know how best to support us. And since we have evolved to a place with modernization of indoor toilets, that's one of the ways we've lost our connection with the trees and their knowledge and wisdom of how to help the humans around them. It's wild.
That's really wild. I'm not sure I'm gonna be urinating on the trees. But a
Well,
lot of men do anyway. So
yeah, it's
hello.
easier for them anyway,
It's
but
easier for the men. It's
there's
easier,
that.
and dogs and whatever.
But the very thought of this is like trees are asking us if we are open to this to reconnect with them on all the levels that we're comfortable with doing. But one of the ways is how we used to live, and that was, again, we didn't have indoor toilets. And that was how they knew how to read what was going on with us. They're highly, highly intelligent beings. And then they knew what to support us with because their biofields, as you're saying with that research, their biofields, their field of energy around them, is tremendously healing for humans.
Yeah.
We evolved with them, but they've existed far longer than we have here on Earth.
Yeah. So you're talking about, and I've talked about this in my last show about the frequency of the planet is rising higher and higher. I'd like to go a little bit deeper into that. Like, what do you see? What is your description of when, we talk about the frequency is getting higher and higher and blah, 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 blah. How do you describe that?
Uh, well, my lens on it is yes, the energies are getting higher and higher. It's getting more and more uncomfortable for us if we haven't started healing our shadow self because it's pushing up all the darkness within us to be healed so that we can be, I use the term luminous love, so that we can embody luminous love more and more. And the only way to do that is to heal our woundedness, heal our shadow self. It's happening on a global scale. And if people only knew how much support is coming in from off the planet to keep on boosting these energies, keep on feeding the energies in. I mean, we had in May the solar flares and then the northern lights, which are triggered by the solar flares. Northern lights were seen as far south as the Florida Keys. And
That's amazing.
yeah, but what was happening were there were transmissions of energy coming in from off planet in a huge way. That what I heard on the spirit plane is they were healing our hearts. They were clearing density from our hearts. And a lot of people felt that transformation. And I know we're about to go to a pause. So
Go ahead. We have to
okay. Okay. So what I have been aware of is there are energy grids around the planet, and I've been working with energy grids for a number of years with Mother Gaia. And the energy grids around the planet are getting more and more amplified into crystal grids. And so they're circling the planet more and more. They're feeding each other more and more. Their energy's coming in from a planet, supporting them, feeding them. And it even extends all the way to Mother Gaia's heart. Like she's becoming more amplified as a crystalline being, shall we say, as our planetary caretaker. And I know that there's been research that was Jerry Gins from the Foundation for Mind Being Research has been showing that even our auras, human auras, are turning white. It's phenomenal what's going on.
So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I'd like to explore a little bit more about this idea of frequency because like you can say a frequency, what is a frequency? And just I'd like to go a little bit more into explaining what a frequency is. And also like why if you look around, you can see so much disruption, so much hate and that's coming up. And I think it's as a result of all the stress that happens when there's all this energy coming at you and you don't know how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So to give this context in real world, not like what we're talking about isn't real world, but out in the world that we see on the news or whatever. So we're coming back in a minute or a few minutes. And this is Gale West and I have Mare Cromwell on my show. Back in a flash. And I'm Gale West. We are back on the Reality Reimagined. I have Mare Cromwell as my guest. We've been having an amazing conversation about so many things. So, Mare, we've been talking about the fact that the frequency on the planet is getting higher and higher. And I'd like to talk just so people can understand what we're talking about as far as frequency. What's a low frequency and what's a higher frequency? And why, when we have these higher and higher frequencies, it causes a lot of stress in the body if you haven't kind of raised your own frequency.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Everything is energy. I think a lot of people are understanding that more and more. And we in our Western world call it 3D reality. And here your show is Reality Reimagined. Um, it's denser energies, heavier energies. And I know we were just mentioning during the break about David Hawkins' work, the scale of frequency, scale of consciousness there. And so what with all this energy coming into the planet and radiating in, and people doing a lot more spiritual work, people waking up, we're shifting the energies on the planet so the frequencies are getting higher. And I'm a little bit tongue-tied right here because it's such a good question. David Hawkins, in his brilliant work, was able to discern that the consciousness of Christ, Jesus Christ, when he walked the planet, was at a level of 1,000. And most people in their places of despair, depression, anger, heavier emotions range between maybe 100 to 150 on that range from 100 or 0 to 1,000. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is how I'm remembering it. And
Well,
so,
despair is 16. It's way down there.
oh, okay.
As you go higher, and he talks about how 200 is a tipping point. When you hit 200, it's courage. And that when you hit 200, you can start taking responsibility for your own being and your own, that you're not a victim anymore. Mm-hmm. Below that, you're kind of in a victim place. And that according to him, 600 is love. And that joy has a higher frequency than love itself.
Interesting.
So we're talking about how all the nature beings radiate joy. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
But that the more people who are at that higher level, they actually raise the consciousness up. So as more and more of us are at this higher level, we're helping to raise the whole kind of collective up so that it's higher. And according to him, for the first time in history, the collective consciousness of the human race is over 200, which
Interesting.
is incredible.
Yeah. And so he figured out how to measure it. And so, maybe you can speak more to that then, because I don't know, you know more about his work than I do. But this really is an energy frequency.
Yeah.
And what I'm aware of is that it's not just us as humans raising our consciousness, meditating, opening our hearts, doing our emotional work. It's also the impact of so many spiritual beings who are influencing the energies on the planet, and the despair, the chaos, all the really dark stuff that's in the media coming forward is, again, the denser energies surfacing to be cleared. It used to be hidden. We've got a lot of people acting out from places of deep woundedness, and they have more freedom, more open. It's almost like they can't control themselves, honestly. I mean, whenever I hear of a mass murder or, people going in and killing too many people, I always think, okay, there's someone who wasn't capable of doing their emotional work, and they lost control.
Yeah, and I think what we're talking about also, so I talk, Jonathan Salk in his incredible book talks about a new reality, that where this old paradigm is ending and this new paradigm is emerging. that what we're talking about is this new paradigm, win-win, unlimited resources, more intuition, more of a feminine energy and connecting to all. That when we have one descending and one ascending, there's always chaos and disruptions because, you know, that's the way things are. And what we're talking about is a healing. And I used to say, well, you can't deal with cockroaches when they're in the wall. And we can look at all this pain, suffering, and sorrows, kind of the cockroaches of the human race that we haven't dealt with.
Yeah.
And that when they come out, then we can deal with them and we can see, oh, this is where we're at right now.
Well, hopefully we can deal with the cockroaches compassionately because we're not good at doing that.
Not so good with the cockroaches.
Yeah, your metaphor is a little interesting there. I will also add that in this ascension process with this emerging new paradigm, what's missing in the equation for most people is reconnecting with the sacredness of our earth. Reconnecting with, these beings, I call them the sacred seen and unseen ones, that the planet couldn't exist, all the life forms on planets couldn't exist without these sacred beings. And a lot of people are striving to raise their consciousness and rise up, up, up. But we also need to connect with Mother Gaia's heart and go down to her heart because she needs us to ground to her, to support her and support the rest of us with these changes. Because a lot of people are highly spiritual and wonderfully floating, but they're not grounded. And that's not supportive of really bringing these new energies in the way they're meant to supposed to be coming in.
And that's a really good point because we are in a third dimensional plane. This is not about I talked in my last show about how somebody had asked the Dalai Lama, is it okay, good to pray for peace? And he said, if all you do is pray for peace, no. If you pray for peace and take action, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really about knowing that we're in a three-dimensional plane. As much as you're going to raise your vibration, what is yours to do? How are you going to help take your hand out and help others? And
and
not just the humans around us, but all beings, recognizing that all creation is one.
Mm-hmm. And sacred, imbued with the divine energies. Yeah. Yep.
So you're smiling. What's your what are you thinking about right now?
I'm just thinking these are vast topics, and I would actually like to just give a little bit more about. There's a free meditation on my website, and it's called Mother's Love Cord Connection. And at one point, every human on the planet was energetically connected from our root chakra and our energy body straight to Mother's heart. And from that place, we knew who she was, how to be in balance. We weren't perfect. There were issues then. I don't have all the details, but we need to come back home to her to ground ourselves, to bring actually this beautiful high energy straight to her heart. Because that feeds her and supports the whole process.
And it supports this beautiful planet that we live on.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
It's all connected.
So I know you have 1,000 goddesses. Yeah. Tell us about that and how people can support that and how people get in touch with you.
Well, one of the assignments that Mother gave me back in 2015 is based on a Tibetan prophecy that when 1,000 goddesses or Tibetan Taras unite, this will shift the tone of our sacred earth from fear to compassion. And I read this on Facebook. There was a group using that prophecy as a way to raise money. And Mother said to me immediately, and you're going to organize this in the physical. And I was like, okay, that's a big job. You're going to help, right? But the gist of it is that it's evolved from an event on the Washington Mall. That was how we did the first two. We did high ceremony on the Washington Mall. And when we did it, a couple very
What
gifted,
mall was that?
the Washington Mall
Oh,
in
the
the heart of
Washington
DC.
Mall. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. No, it was really, I thought we were going to do this at a retreat center. I thought, oh, it's going to be a weekend long event. And then mother woke me up at 5 in the morning in late July of 2016 and said, this needs to happen in Washington, DC, in Washington before the elections. I was like, gulp, okay. But amazing. People came forward. I had all the volunteers. We got a permit. It was complicated, but we did it. But what happened was we did high ceremony. I had a Oshun high priestess come. People who are gifted light workers saw a conduit of white light come into the Washington Mall in the very center of our ceremony. And according to one very gifted light worker, it went deep into the ground. It was extremely high Hawkins scale of frequency. She said it was at like 9, 10,000. Came from the great central sun. I'm getting a little bit out there, but the gist of it is that it cleared all these dense energies from the heart of DC. And the same thing happened 2 years later when we did it again on the Washington Mall. And at that time, somebody actually videotaped it. They saw the light come in. So this has evolved now to a global grid of ceremonies all over the earth. And anyone can join us this year. It's been women-led. It is the Thousand Goddesses Gathering. But the trees, there's a global grid of trees that work energetically around the planet. They have requested this along with Mother Gaia and said, let's connect with the trees. Let's bond with the trees. And this is how we're going to do the global grid. So it's a unified field of healing to call in the compassion, to call in and amp up the healing energies of the trees. Exactly what they're going to be doing, I can't tell you right now, but I can tell you that the trees are very, very supportive. And it's reconnecting us with them. So it's going to be big, and it's happening November 2nd, Saturday, November 2nd.
So hold that thought because I want to talk a little bit more about how people can get involved.
Okay.
So we're going to take our last little break, and when we come back, we're going to hear more about how you can get involved, how you can connect to Mare, and so excited to be here. I'm Gale West, and this is Reality Reimagined. We are back at Reality Reimagined. I am your host, Gale West, and I have the Mother Gaia mystic, Mare Cromwell, as my guest. We've been having an amazing conversation about so many amazing, powerful things that'll blow your mind when you listen to this. But she's been talking about a gathering that she's having on November 2nd?
November 2nd, Saturday,
Okay.
November 2nd.
So how can people get involved with that? And then you want to do a meditation for us, right?
I would love that. Yeah,
Okay.
at the
So
end.
tell us more about the
So the Thousand Goddesses Gathering, the title for this event this year, and it's actually not just one event, it's a whole group of events happening all over the planet. We've had upwards of 270, 350, depending on the year, of ceremonies around the world. And the short name, I should say, for this event is Global Tree Love Day. So if the word ceremony feels daunting to you and you're like, I can't get involved, I don't know how to do ceremony, don't worry about it. We just want to invite anybody and everybody to join the field. It's a unified field of events around the planet by going outside or doing it from inside if the weather's really bad and loving up a tree, breathing with the tree. You breathe in, the tree breathes out, the tree breathes in, you breathe out, because we're exchanging these gases with them all the time, oxygen and carbon dioxide. And then opening your hearts to the trees. And trees will respond. They're waiting for us to open our hearts back up to them. And they're actually offering us a lot of healing energies. They know what we're going through. They know these are intense times for humans. So there's that level of involvement. And then there is the level of involvement that if you want to learn how to do ceremony or you already have been doing it, and this is why it's a Thousand Goddesses Gathering, because traditionally, this will be the 8th time we're doing this. Traditionally, it's circles of women. Sometimes people do it alone, but usually circles of women doing ceremony, calling in their spirit teams, the divine feminine, deities that they love to work with, and asking men to be there, to be divine masculine guardians. So it's not just women. It depends on who's leading the ceremony, what they want to do. But what this manifests is a web of energy that's very healing for the mother, for Mother Gaia, for all of humanity and all beings here on the planet. And it actually amplifies a grid of energy around the planet that we humans are responsible for amplifying, called, I was told to call it Gaia's oneness grid. And this is all about the raising of the energies. We were talking just a few moments ago about the rising frequencies. People have contacted me after being involved, like one from Germany or somebody from California, and they're like, I need to know who you are because I am still rippling with these energies of having been involved 3 or 4 days ago with the Thousand Goddess Gathering. We did a ceremony here in Germany, and I am still feeling the effects of it. So it's powerful, it's beautiful. Mother Gaia is calling for this, and it's to support the healing. And I call this time, Mother has asked me to call this time the time of the great healing, healing our way back into beautiful relationship with Mother and all the beautiful ones on the planet.
Well, we're talking about, you're talking about energy grids, but there are, and this is, been scientifically proven that there are ley lines, there are energy lines that radiate throughout the whole planet.
Mm-hmm.
And so syncrotic lines and lines that converge. And a lot of churches and temples and stuff were actually built on places that were sacred sites where these lines converge. So this is not a new piece of information about these grids that are around the planet.
Yeah, let me add to that, if I may. I hope I'm not cutting you off there. Is the whales have their own grid with the whale songs. The dolphins have their own grid. The nature spirits have their own grid. There are many different grids that are all woven together depending on the species or the types of beings. And the ley lines are one type of grid. Unfortunately, we humans have really impacted the ley lines whenever we've mined or put in highways or overhead electrical lines, that those influence the grids and weaken them or actually shut them down. So, there are many ways to heal all these ley lines. I'm not going to get into all that, but this is an opportunity for us humans to take responsibility and weave our energies together to promote a beautiful field of healing. And it's a kind of subtle activism. I don't know if you know that term at all, but there's actual research on people meditating in large groups and influencing the energies where they are so that the degree of violence goes down in a certain neighborhood in a city.
There's been a lot of research from the TM
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Maharishi.
So it is a form of activism, and I think the idea of responsibility is big. When we take responsibility for our actions as humans and how we impact our daily lives, how we impact when we're with each other, how we impact the thoughts we send out, is when we start beginning to take responsibility for how we show up, that really impacts both our lives and the people around us and the planet.
And there's a whole piece this I haven't really talked about, and that is the role of the rising feminine. That we need to call in the compassion. We need to call in the nurturing energies. We need to awaken our intuitive selves, which is happening really fast with these rising energies. But this is to bring balance back in after many, many centuries of patriarchal systems that have not honored the sacredness. And Mother herself, has been violated terribly. She is the embodiment of the divine feminine here on earth, really.
Yeah. Well, you're going to do, and just want to quote another Dalai Lama. Supposedly, he has said that it's the women of the West that'll bring peace on earth. Knowing that we have more power than many, many other people around the planet, many other women around the planet, and that when we step forward with the feminine energies of compassion, that it heals not only us as women, but it heals the whole planet and allows men to allow for that for themselves also.
Yeah.
We're going
Yeah.
to do a little meditation. We have some time left. We have just a few minutes. So, are you ready?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Good.
Okay.
Yay.
So, inviting everyone to shut their eyes, be sitting comfortably.
If you're driving, please don't do this.
Yeah, no, don't. You may want to listen to this when you get home. Uh, so I invite you to take a deep breath in and then exhale that breath through your mouth. And then one more deep breath in through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. And now I invite you to visualize a beautiful ribbon of energy that is starting at the base of your skull, at the top of your spine. And this beautiful ribbon of energy is going down your spine, all the way down. And it can be any color that comes to you. It could even be rainbow colored. And just visualize how it's dropping down your spine all the way to your tailbone. And when it reaches your tailbone, I want you to send the end of this ribbon of energy straight down to the heart of Mother Gaia, the very heart of our planet. And visualize how Mother is actually opening her heart to your beautiful cord of energy. And she's opening her heart and she's pulling the end of this cord of energy straight to the core of her heart. This is how much she loves us. So she's bringing you right to the very center of her heart. And she's infusing this beautiful ribbon of energy with love. So it's starting to come back up into your energy body. So take a deep breath there and then release that breath. And now I want you in your heart to feel the love and gratitude that you may have for Mother Gaia. Maybe you've never thought about this, but the very fact that you've been able to eat all the delicious food that you've had, the water, the juices, the liquids you've been able to drink, the air that we inhale, which is a gift from the plant kingdom, the fact that we have bones in our body come from the minerals of the earth. These are all gifts from Mother Gaia and all of her sacred children around the planet. So think about the love and gratitude you have for experiencing all of these beautiful phenomena in your life that which has allowed you to be alive here, and know that they source from Mother. And so send this love and gratitude straight down this love cord connection, which you've just formed from this ribbon of energy. It's now a love cord connection. Send it down to the base of your tailbone and straight down to Mother's heart. It's beautiful. Know that she is receiving this in the very core of her heart, because that's where she has taken you in. And now you can call out to Mother and ask her to send her love straight up this cord connection, this Mother's love cord connection, straight up into your root chakra, to your tailbone, into your energy body, and straight up into your heart. And some of you may be feeling this. Mother's love for us is huge. She's our foremost mother. So one more time, focus on the love and gratitude you have for everything you've been able to eat, inhale, drink, experience in your physical body here on earth. And send this love and gratitude straight down again to Mother's heart through your love cord connection with her. Beautiful. And now take another deep breath in and release that breath. And know that you have now anchored an energetic connection to Mother's heart, which is there now for the rest of your life. It's within your energy blueprint. And you can call out to her, ask her to help you be grounded, send her love, ask her for her support, her healing energies. She helped me from lymphoma without the doctors. It's huge what happens when we are connected with her sacredly like this. And she is calling us all to do this.
So thank you so much, Mare. And how can people connect to you?
They can find me at my nonprofit's website, which is www.greatmotherlove.earth. We are nonprofits, so if you are inspired by this work and you want to support the Thousand Goddesses Gathering with donations, we accept donations on that level. You can link from that website to the Thousand Goddesses Gathering website. And I offer year-long courses called the Great Mother Love Way, webinars, and more.
Thank you so much. And this is Gale West, and you are on the Reality Reimagined. Thank you for tuning in to Reality Reimagined with me, your host, Gale West. Listen and watch live every second and fourth Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com, where you will have the opportunity to expand your mind, elevate your spirit, and transform your world into something truly awesome. Reality Reimagined is an exciting out-of-the-box look at what's new, what's old, and what's emerging, exploring the questions, who are we and who are we becoming? For more information on hope and transformation for your new reality, visit me, Gale West, at successwithsoul.com.